It's almost 2018 NFL draft season. Which means it's already 2018 NFL mock draft season. What most mock drafters and readers often forget, however, is that teams' real-life draft boards can drastically change depending on what happens in the big event that comes before April's rookie bonanza, free agency. As if we needed any more reason to note that mock drafts are entirely about predicting the unpredictable. So what if, for once, we turned our attention to the festivities of March? What if, instead of projecting what all 32 teams are going to do on draft day, we just handled free agency first? Here, we've tried to do that, with a twist. Since mock fever has already struck the masses, we decided to predict the first round of 2018's draft. With only free agents, the order of team selections has been kept the same. But instead of college's top prospects as potential draft picks, we've narrowed the pool to the best veterans set to become available March 14th. Here's the lowdown. Only unrestricted free agents were included, and a handful of veterans who are virtual locks for the franchise tag or a contract extension. Drew Brees, Le'Veon Bell, DeMarcus Lawrence, Allen Robinson and LaMarcus Joyner were not eligible as picks. The gist, of course, is that any pick enables the selecting team to own the selected player's rights, as would be the case in a normal draft. So, for example, if the Cleveland Browns take a quarterback, they automatically sign that free agent. Quarterbacks, of course, figure to be the most polarizing of the picks. But cornerbacks also made for a popular first-round choice, with a whopping 7 of them finding new teams here. See them, and all the other picks, for yourself right here. In our 2018 NFL free agency mock draft. 1. Cleveland Browns. QB Kirk Cousins. Washington. The Browns get their quarterback whether that quarterback likes it or not. And the Jets and Vikings do not. At one point in Cousins' career, it would have sounded ludicrous to suggest him as the biggest prize of free agency. But here we are. What he lacks in elite characteristics he makes up for with steady production, which can be supplemented by Cleveland's other draft assets. 2. New York Giants. G. Andrew Norwell. Carolina. We present the first stunner of the draft board. Secretly, Cousins may have been tempting if he had slipped past no. 1. But instead, Dave Gettleman unearths a familiar face to bolster the Giants' trenches. 3. Indianapolis Colts. C.B. Tremaine Johnson. Los Angeles Rams. This is where Robinson would have looked really nice if he were available. Instead, Chris Ballard finds an immediate replacement for Vontae Davis, plucking the man who will be replaced by Marcus Peters from the West Coast. 4. Cleveland Browns. From Texans. W.R. Sammy Watkins. Los Angeles Rams. Call it a reach, but this is about surrounding Cousins with talent, especially now that he won't be playing alongside, say, Vikings playmakers. A corner might have been a nice alternative. 5. Denver Broncos. QB Case Keenum. Minnesota. Our first big reach. Unless you count Norwell. The Keenum selection gives Denver somebody at quarterback. And that's what John Elway wants most. Maybe the Broncos could have waited to snag Sam Bradford later or focused on tackle instead. But at least they put some production into the QB room. 6. New York Jets. CB Kyle Fuller. Chicago. He could be a tag candidate. But that's not exactly the vibe the Bears were giving off at the Combine. In New York, the Jets pass over A.J. McCarron, a QB they could have had in a trade in 2017, and give Todd Bowles an instant and long-term upgrade at corner. 7. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. CBE. J. Gaines. Buffalo. Tampa's secondary is in desperate need of some competence. And it gets some big upside with Gaines, who was a revelation after his trade in 2017. 8. Chicago Bears. CB Malcolm Butler. New England. Super Bowl 52's biggest loser finds a team that wants him. With Fuller out the door as the No. 4 pick, the Bears are left no choice but to continue the run on corners, welcoming a new big name on the outside. 9. San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Graham. Seattle. The big man stays in the division. This pick is all about building an offense for Jimmy Garoppolo. And who better to both revamp the tight end spot and play the role of red zone threat than Graham? 10. Oakland Raiders. OT Nate Sauter. New England. The Raiders need defense like anyone. And Donald Penn is still in the house at left tackle. But John Gruden can't pass up this kind of protection for Derek Carr, an instant starter he hopes can plug in at RT and then take over for Penn down the road. 11. Miami Dolphins. CB Aaron Colvin. Jacksonville. Who knows what's going on at quarterback? But at least Adam Gase gets to help out his defense with Colvin, who has experience in and outside the slot to make an immediate difference in Miami. 12. Cincinnati Bengals. OT Justin Pugh. New York Giants. They don't really have a choice but to upgrade, or try to upgrade, the line. Do they? 13. Washington Redskins. DT Sheldon Richardson. Seattle. What they really need is a corner. But with so many coming off the board early, Washington goes for the next best thing, a gap plugger for the front four and, hopefully, something to alleviate pressure on the secondary. 14. Green Bay Packers. Adrian Claiborne. Atlanta. Tricky spot for the Packers in the middle of the pack, where there aren't many elite edge rushers. So Julius Pepper's familiar face is tempting. Claiborne offers a little more promise beyond 2018. However. 15. Arizona Cardinals. QB AJ McCarron. Cincinnati. And we have another quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater might have been a nice mid-round option. But here, Arizona shoots its shot and brings in another guy who can be both an instant placeholder and potential long-term starter. 16. Baltimore Ravens. WR Marquise Lee. Jacksonville. This is about giving Joe Flacco every ounce of help he can get. Plain and simple. Interior blocking help may have been better value for the long term, but a pass catcher helps them right away. 17. Los Angeles Chargers. DT Dontari Poe. Atlanta. A linebacker would be a popular choice, but Brandon Mabin is also due for relief. The Chargers get a potential steal with the 27-year-old trench warrior. 18. Seattle Seahawks. G. Weston Richburg. New York Giants. This isn't a sexy pick, and it doesn't satisfy what's shaping up to be a big need along the defensive line. But blocking for Russell Wilson has been a problem forever. Richburg can swing over from center. 19. Dallas Cowboys. Kenny Vaccaro. New Orleans. Kenny comes home to Texas as the Cowboys bolster their secondary, shifting Byron Jones to corner and inserting some much-needed experience at the back end. 20. Detroit Lions. CB Prince Amakamara. Chicago. A 38-year-old Julius Peppers may have been more in play than you think. But Amakamara gives Detroit solid veteran presence at a position that could be out two of its top 3 players. 21. Buffalo Bills. DT Benny Logan. Kansas City. With a good recommendation from his old friends in Philadelphia, Sean McDermott finds Buffalo's needy interior a day one starter. Ex-Panthers pal Star Latulele would have been a familiar face, albeit a less reliable one. 22. Buffalo Bills. From Chiefs. QB Sam Bradford, Minnesota. Some will think Sammy B fell too far, and some will think he went far too early. A wideout or running back would have been nice here, but the Bills simply need an arm if they're moving on from Tyrod Taylor. And they at least get both experience and some upside with Bradford. 23. Los Angeles Rams. CB Bashad Breeland, Washington. Even with Peters in the house, the Rams are dealing with the loss of Tremaine Johnson. In Breeland, they get a proven vet who just might fit best in the slot, where there's an opening. 24. Carolina Panthers. Wr Paul Richardson, Seattle. Once again, it's time to bring Cam Newton some downfield help. 25. Tennessee Titans. RB Dion Lewis, New England. Derrick Henry is the guy moving forward, but with DeMarco Murray likely heading elsewhere, the Titans juice up the change of pace role alongside Marcus Mariota, spreading out the backfield with Lewis. 26. Atlanta Falcons. Julius Peppers, Carolina. It can't feel great for Dan Quinn to tap into a nearly 40-year-old pass rusher to strengthen his defense. But the Falcons saw plenty of Peppers in 2017 and have little choice but to find an instant fill-in for Poe and Claiborne. 27. New Orleans Saints. LB Nigel Bradham, Philadelphia. Infusing sideline-to-sideline speed and an imposing mentality into a linebacker core that could use another playmaker alongside Monty Te'o, the Saints immediately bolster their front seven with Bradham. 28. Pittsburgh Steelers. Morgan Burnett, Green Bay. Here's the thing with Burnett. The Steelers aren't just getting a potential replacement for Mike Mitchell, but rather a vet with the versatility to move into the slot and play up front for a unit that'll be missing Ryan Shazier. 29. Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Sitton, Chicago. Blake Bortles is locked up, but he and the Jags' ground and pound attack need some help on the interior. Sitton provides just that and can probably slot in immediately at left guard. 30. Minnesota Vikings. QB Teddy Bridgewater, Minnesota. Mike Zimmer becomes the first coach to draft his own veteran, and Bridgewater's storybook comeback attempt begins. Back in Minnesota, after the early run on QBs. What else were the Vikes to do? 31. New England Patriots. DT Muhammad Wilkerson, New York Jets. If this doesn't smell like a Bill Belichick selection, complete with a shot at the Jets, then what does? A running back would be a good fit, but why not take a swing at someone with Wilkerson's talent here? 32. Philadelphia Eagles. LB Avery Williamson, Tennessee. A potential steal. Williamson doesn't have the name recognition of a Zach Brown or Navarro Bowman, but at just 26, he makes for long-term insurance in the middle, where he's thrived as a run defender.